is going down in real estate these days?
Well, we're opening up an office in Burlington on Brant Street, so we've been doing some renovations there, and things are taking its time, unless it's labor. But when you have to order product, it's just one thing at a time. It's just like baby steps to get things done. So what we did in Burlington, right away when I bought the place, when I took possession, I had guys go in to take a look and dig around the house for the new weeping tiles, because I knew the house was old. And and as we gutted the house, we can see the age of the house, it's over 100 years old. And but I said, let's get the weeping tiles done, and because I don't want to have any problems, because I'm going to be investing a lot of money in landscaping and everything on the outside. I don't want to have a problem after and say, hey, we should have done this. Now, so we did all the weeping tiles, put a sump pump in there. Fantastic. That's great. And also, and I knew I was going to do that. So that expense was there when I knew I was going to do that. The second thing was I wanted to remove all the insulation, but I didn't know I had some asbestos insulation in my attic. So these are some of the things that you come across as you're renovating that you don't expect. Like, I knew there was insulation up there, but I didn't know there was asbestos. So it didn't cost me too much. It was about, $3,500 to remove all that. I'm going to re-insulate it, but we just want to make it clear up there so that we can actually, do all the wiring and everything, because I'm putting all new wiring in this place. But yeah, no, it's coming along. I'm just getting the floor plans this week. So now we're ready to start, framing and stuff like that. It's going to be like a brand new house. The only thing that's going to be original in that house is the brick, the joists around the outside, and that's it. Like, it's going to be a brand new, and the foundation, that's it. But it's going to be a brand new house once I'm done, and it should be good for another 50 years. So I'll be gone by then, so I don't have to worry about it. My kids maybe have to worry about it if they still have the place. Who knows? But yeah, and these are some of the things. Now, I gutted this whole place, knowing what I was going to do. And the one mistake I make is that I judge. I got a number in my mind that what I think is going to cost me, and I didn't write it on paper, but I do have a number in my mind. It always goes over. It always goes over. You should always write down everything that you're going to do, the costs and everything. For somebody that, if they're doing flips like this or doing this to buy a house to move in, be very, very careful. Always have it written down. But this is probably my third or fourth that I've completed gutted a house and re-put it together. So I have a general idea, but every time I always go over, because there's other things that come up. Other things that come up in the house that are unexpected. So it's just a little bit of a tale, to tell people, like, be very careful when you buy a house and renovating. Like, I have a really good friend of mine. I sold their house. Now they're looking, and now his wife is saying, honey, like, whatever we're going to buy, we're going to have to do some renovations, right? And he's going, I don't want no problems. I just want something newer, because it's done. Like, he wants a headache-free to go in. And I told him, I says, you know what? You're not going to get that, or otherwise you're going to pay. You're going to pay huge for that. So I think he's starting to be getting the realization that he may have to put a new kitchen, some new flooring, and I said, stuff like that is easy. Flooring, kitchen, and bathrooms. It's when you have to do structurally and stuff like that gets pretty expensive. But yeah, you got to be very, very careful when you're buying a place and renovating it. You better have the budget, because you always go over budget. You always do. So
not only, the advice for people out there who are looking at, buying a property, maybe flipping it or just renovating it, to perhaps add a little bit of a buffer to your budget because of those unexpected circumstances.
Exactly. You know what it is? I'm going to come up with a list that I can give to people if they're thinking of renovating, like total reno. Like, and there's two, make three lists, like a lipstick reno, a kind of a semi rental or a full rental, and have everything listed in there. See what the cost is. Like, put down from the outside, weeping tiles, landscaping, like what they figure. And it's a good indicator to see if you can afford to buy this house. Like I said, a lot of people end up buying houses and they think they can renovate and they can't afford to finish it. And it doesn't happen to too many, but the odd person, you see some houses that are half renovated. I know people that I've been in and they couldn't finish it. They're living on wood, like plywood. They couldn't afford to put hardwood in anymore, just because the cost of other things that came up, that they had to put a stop on everything until they can afford to do any more. And they were doing little bits and pieces at a time as time went on. So, the planning for them wasn't as good. So people got to be very careful and know exactly what they're getting into and make sure they have the money and budget to do it. Because I'll tell you, cost of goods today is so expensive, and it'll hurt you badly financially if you're not prepared right.
The other thing that can be thrown sideways on a project like you're describing is the timeline, because when those things do pop up, the timeline gets lengthened a little bit more, and the next thing that happens, it gets delayed again. So what's your timeline? When do you expect this to be ready?
Well, you know what? For me to order windows, we're 4 months in. So we're just ordering windows on Monday, Tuesday. So I'm 4 months. So I'm going to be probably April. So I'm hoping that, we're going to be in there April, the end of April, the latest. Windows is the key factor. And what else is a delay? And then cabinets for the place is another 4 months. So that's why we got to get the floor plans in right away, get it framed. So then we know what we can order for cabinets, because we got to get those cabinets ordered ASAP so that in April we're ready to put it together and finalize everything. But yeah, like it's not easy. Like waiting something for 4 months is a long time, but that's just the way life is right now, and everything is delayed. It's like and you also have the delay of the city. Cities are always giving you delays of everything. Like I had to get a survey, and it took me 2 months just for them to tell me, oh yeah, this survey company has a copy of the survey. You just have to pay them. Like they could have gave me that information within a week, but they didn't. Like, I don't know, like everything's taken forever. I don't know. I think it's just the way we're getting used to working little by little.
Yeah. Why did you feel it was important to set up shop in Burlington?
You know what it is? We do a lot of business in Burlington, and we have a lot of agents that work with us at the Golfi team in Burlington, that live in Burlington. So we wanted to set up like a sub office from our main office in Hamilton, just so that the agents can meet clients in Burlington and work out of there too. So now we do cover the Hamilton, Halton, Niagara, and Brantford area. So we want to make sure our agents have a place to go to and work out of if they need to, or meet clients to work in Burlington and Brantford and different areas. So yeah, no, it's working out well. Everybody's excited. Everybody's looking forward to it. I'm over there every single day, looking at the progress and stuff like that. So we're pretty excited.
So when does the Niagara detachment open?
It's Niagara is open now. It's fully running. We got agents in there every single day working. We got our signs up on the building. We are very, very happy with the turnout that happened in Niagara Falls there. So our Niagara, because we do a fair amount in Niagara. Like, I mean, our team is probably, we've got probably one of the largest teams in Canada. And we've got agents that live all across different regions, right? Like from in Niagara Falls, St. Catharines, Welland, right into Grimsby, Stony Creek, Hamilton, Brantford, Ancaster. We're like if you put a map out of everybody where they lived, it would show like, oh wow, you guys do cover a lot of areas, because we have people that live in all these different regions, and we want to make sure that they live and work in those areas, and we can service people easily. So if somebody says, hey, I need to meet somebody in an hour, so we would call the agent on our team and say, hey, you live in, let's say, Aldershot, Burlington, and these people want to meet with you quickly. Boom, we can have somebody meet with them quickly and talk to them, and also know the area. Like, we've got quite a few people in our team that live in Burlington. So, I mean, we know the markets. We have people that live and work in those markets. So it'll be really, really, really good. So, and now we have offices all across. So which makes it even easier for my team members to work and bring clients and do things. So it's an exciting thing. I love working on projects, and that's another great thing also, just working and learning as I'm going.
You mentioned it, beside the expediency of meeting with prospective clients is the knowledge of the markets where your agents are stationed. They know the community, they know the neighborhoods, they know the ins and outs, the good places, the bad places, and that's an important thing to have, especially if you're buying and selling homes in this market. Still to come on the Golfi Real Estate Show, we're going to chat about a couple that's calling for more affordable housing after, vacating the housing market, going into the rental market, and probably regretting that move. That and a whole lot more still to come here on the Golfi Real Estate Show, Hamilton edition on 900 CHML. November is the month to buy. Why is November so active and the month to get into the market?
It is because for some reason, less buyers are out there. Less buyers are out there looking. And also, there's also less homes for sale, but the homes are serious people that are looking to sell. And I found that, and I sent you this. It said, if you look at the November prices right across for the past 5 years, you'll see that they kind of slip a little bit in November. And then they spike up in the beginning of the new year. So right now, I mean, housing prices is high right now. It's at an all-time high regardless. But houses are staying on the market maybe instead of selling in 7 to 10 days, they're selling maybe in 20 days. But this is the opportunity for you to get something before the new year and before the rush comes in where there's a ton of buyers coming into the market looking at buying. Now you're competing with them. So like I said, always, buy now. This is a good time to buy. I know you might feel it's expensive and everybody's thinking, oh, will the market change? Yes, it may change. There's a possibility. But in 2017, if you look in March in 2017, you could see towards March, April, the market went up, and then it kind of tiered down a bit. But it took 2 years for it to get back to that level. So don't worry. I mean, housing prices on average, I mean, it'll be hard to find out in the future, but housing prices double every 10 years, even though they doubled in probably 7 years in the last 7 years, but housing prices double. So don't worry when you buy. Even if you overpay, if you stay there for a long time, you will benefit. So what I'm saying is now's a good time to get some to purchase property. Now I've bought in properties through this pandemic. I've bought in properties. I'm not worried about the price. I'm not, because I know I'm more of a long-term real estate investor. Like I buy it, I hold on, and that's it. So yeah, if it changes, no problem. It doesn't matter because I know it's going to go up, and it may hold. The price may hold for 2, 3, 4 years. It doesn't matter. I got rental income to pay for that real estate. So I've got cash flow coming in to pay for that. So don't worry. And I know if you're purchasing a property for you to move in, well, you've obviously got a job to pay for the mortgage on that. Just keep paying it. Don't look outside. You'll be fine. So November, we're right now we're at the mid almost not quite the mid-November. We're on the 12th. You still got time to get to buy something that it'll be on average. And just like I said in the past episodes, I was looking at downtown Toronto in Yorkville. You buy an expensive condo there right now. You close in March, April. I should look into this, Rick. We should bring this segment back in March, April of next year. We're going to do this clipping. Just remember this. I guarantee it that if you average sale price in Yorkville for a condo and then look in 4 months from now, 5 months, guaranteed it'll be worth $200,000 to $300,000 more. Good opportunity to make a quick buck right there.
Wow. Great advice.
Yeah.
I'm imagining people just rushing online to check out this condo to get in on the action. But we also want to mention, the price of homes has really gone up, but so too has the price of in the rental market as well. And you have a list of freehold homes that have different rental rates, but the common denominator is it's way more expensive now than it was in the past.
Yeah, so if you look at the rental market in 2016, every month it varies, but it works about 2,000 to 2,200. Well, right now in November, this is in Hamilton. Right now, you're looking at almost $2,900 to find a place to rent in the Hamilton. This is in Hamilton, Stony Creek. I'm not even including Ancaster or anything like that. This is Hamilton, Stony Creek. If Ancaster and Glanbrook in there, I guarantee this be over $3,000 a month to find a place to rent, like a freehold home. But I get it. Like rents have gone up quite a bit, and I don't know, like almost a $3,000 rent. Now they have to pay for their own gas and hydro. Taxes are not included. But I think if you purchased a property, your mortgage would be less than $3,000, depending on the price point. Now, it is tough. Sometimes these people are behind the eight ball because it's hard for them to save because they don't make enough money to save to the down payment to buy a property because all their money's going to rent. But it's amazing what's happening with the rental market. And look in Burlington now, $3,363 average rent for a freehold in Burlington. So, and it gets expensive. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of places in Burlington, like the luxury properties, they're getting $5,000 to $8,000 a month. I mean, people are paying that but it is getting expensive. And the city, the government is trying to figure out how to control this thing, and it's just out of control. And they've got all these different ideas, but I don't know if they're implementing them or not. But I feel for people out there. So, but there's the one couple from Welland. They actually trying to put a petition out.
Yeah, this is an interesting story. So this is a Welland couple. They were actually in a home, and they sold it in 2016, and they moved into a smaller apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment. And now 5 years later, they're regretting this decision because they did not imagine spending 38% of their income on housing. And if they knew that, they would have stayed in their house. I can't imagine how many other people have done the same.
Absolutely. They sold out. And I mean, first of all, they sold before the 2017 market jumped.
Yeah.
So they saw that happen. And now with the 2021, the way that went, they're like, whoa, they couldn't even get back into the market. So they got out too soon, maybe. But I mean, at the time where these people were in 2016, they obviously said, hey, it's time for us to sell. Maybe they were going to rent. Who knows what financial things they had, problems or anything, but they decided to sell. Now, they're spending 38% of their income. That's a lot. That's a lot of income. I'm not sure if they're retired, living on retirement pensions or anything like that, but that is a lot of their income going towards housing. But now they're out of it. I know they're doing a petition trying to get people to start affordable housing, but the affordable housing, I don't know. Like the government's always talk about it. Do you know how you solve affordable housing? The government's got to build these places themselves. They got to hire a company. Say, listen, we need you to build a high-rise apartment, and they control the rents. Or if they want to sell, like let's say a complex of townhouses. You buy a townhouse for a discounted price, but you're going to have to sell it at a discounted price. So don't think you can buy it cheap and then sell it expensive 5-10 years down the road. You're going to have to go by whatever increments inflation they want you to go at. That's the only way they're going to control it, and they'll base it on their income and stuff like that. But otherwise, it's not going to happen. It won't happen. These people are going around trying to get people to sign a petition. Politicians, they're saying, yeah, you're right. I support you, but nothing really gets done. I mean, we talk about this all the time. And Rick, you deal with all the things that are happening with the city and you hear all different things, but is anything happening?
Nothing is happening other than people talking. Basically, there's too much red tape. We know that there is a supply issue. The big debates, or one of the big debates in the city is the urban sprawl debate, and either expanding the urban boundary and, chewing up some agricultural lands to build more homes, which many feel won't be affordable homes. The flip side of that is in the one that I'm leaning towards in terms of being more favorable is looking at, those spaces in the city, those brownfield sites, those empty lots, whatever the case is, and not necessarily building, 60-story monstrosities, but, things that are, low-rise kind of condos, 3-4 stories, several units in there, and gear them towards more affordable housing. And, kind of falls in line with kind of what this petition is calling for. They're asking the city of Welland to make any new planned development include, a certain percentage of that development be geared towards affordable housing units for seniors or those who just, need that subsidized kind of help. I guess the tricky part is, once these developments are built and maybe 10% is set aside for seniors, another 10% for affordable housing units, is the stipulation only seniors can move into that home and only people who need subsidized rents or whatever the case is can move into those homes? Because now it's kind of a split kind of subdivision, right? And that, as a developer, I'm not sure you want to be involved in that.
No, they don't. You know what I mean? Developers can't make money. That's why the city has to buy the land, develop it themselves, and do it. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. It's tough. And I know there's a project coming down not too far from St. Joe's near Corktown. And the developers bought some land there that they had the low income housing in Hamilton. And I know developers purchased some of it, and they've worked out something where they have some low income housing, affordable housing. But that affordable housing is going to happen whoever's the first in line to get it. But then once they sell down the road, it's not going to be affordable for the next person that's moving in. I mean, I don't know how it works. I don't know. I know the city. I get it. They're not going to like what I'm saying, but I know they talk about it to let everybody know that they're talking about it, and to let everybody know that they're thinking about it. But it's really nothing is happening. And but the only reason they bring it up is because they know it'll satisfy people to say, hey, at least they're talking about it. But you know what? Talking about it, anybody can do, but doing it, you know what? They need somebody, a business person, to go and say, listen, we're going to buy some land, we're going to build and go from there, because they have the power to change zoning on different properties, and they can do it. Look at it. You go on James Street North. There's a townhouse complex that's been boarded up for how long? What's going on with that? Like, that looks like there's an acre or more there that, they kicked everybody out of there because they're going to develop it, but they didn't have to kick anybody out of there till like it's been empty. I drive by there almost every single day, and it's been empty for probably 2 years. So why is it taking so long to do anything there? So it's just taken forever to do anything. And that's why rental is expensive in the Hamilton Burlington. That's why housing is expensive. They're sitting there boarded up townhouses, and nobody's occupying them.
There are some good, encouraging developments in terms of city housing Hamilton. There's a new refurbished kind of high rise for seniors and those who need affordable housing on Houston Street. I don't remember the name, but it's a green building as well. So that's, a positive thing.
Yes.
The provincial government is setting up this task force to look at housing affordability. What that entails and what that means, remains to be seen. At least we're having the discussion and we're developing these strategies, but now we got to see some action, basically.
Oh, we have to. We have no choice. We have to see action because it's caught up to us. And it's just, and if they don't take action fast, we're going to be in this situation for a long time. And they got to start building a lot more.
Yeah, and here's the sobering thing too, and this is not necessarily for seniors and those who need affordable housing. It's just, home buyers and sellers in general, mostly the home buyers, is, we're hearing rumblings more and more that, with inflation going up, interest rates might be climbing sometime next year in terms of the central bank. So that means mortgages might be a little bit higher. It might become even more unaffordable to get into a house.
Oh yeah, I mean, when people have to renew their mortgages or whatever, yeah, they're gonna feel the pinch. They're not gonna be able to go out for dinners and order out as much as they used to. They're gonna have to sit in and cook, just like they did at the beginning of the pandemic. but otherwise, yeah, everybody will just have to buckle down. And I mean, every recession or anything in the economy that changes, people have to change, and we're resilient, and people do. So it won't be a problem. That I don't think it'll be a problem, even if interest rates go up, 1.5% or whatever. I mean, Rick, I'm used, like I remember paying 13% at one time, and and then the generation before me, they were paying 18 to 23%. So I mean, so we're doing pretty good with interest rates, even if they go up to 6%, even though it's not something we're used to because it's been so low, such a long time. But we're doing pretty good as the Canadian people are doing.
Still to come on the show, we will talk about apartments at malls are apparently the next big thing in Toronto's real estate landscape. And who knows, we might see some of that here in Hamilton as well. And could New Zealand's radical new housing law help this country curb its skyrocketing real estate prices? We'll get to that as well. You're listening to the Golfi Real Estate Show, Hamilton Edition on 900 CHML. Still to come, apartments at malls, apparently the next big thing in Toronto. But, of course, Canada has had its, affordable housing woes, or unaffordable housing woes, I guess, most accurately. New Zealand as well is in that boat, even more so. And they've come up with what they're calling a radical new law intended to reduce their housing crunch. So what are they doing? Well, they've developed they'll allow New Zealanders to develop up to 50% of their land and build up to 3 stories without requiring consent from municipal authorities. And while they don't mandate developments of existing homes, they mean that New Zealanders now have much more freedom to build on their land without butting up against municipal planning laws. This is interesting. I'm not sure if it would work here, but interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, it's what, they have a major crisis. They're worse than we are, but it looks like we're following them. But they only have a population, I think, is it 5 million people in that small little country? Is it?
It's not nowhere near us.
No, it's nowhere near us. And they also don't allow foreigners buying properties in their country. If they did, they'd be really in trouble. Like so right now. You're right. They're allowing you to build up to 50% of your property, and you can put 2 or 3 residents up to 3 stories tall on your property. They're just saying, so basically they're passing a law. So, cause they need to build houses fast, and they need housing, and they have such a shortage, and they figure this will probably do it. Some neighbors aren't going to like it. There's going to be a lot of issues. Parking's going to be an issue. It just depends how big your property is. Like, I mean, if you have a house that's 100 by, let's say 100 by 100 foot lot, I mean, you can build another house on that, right? And you just got to figure out where to put it, because you can't move the current house, so you might put it in the back of the property or whatever. It just depends where your house is situated. But I mean, so here's an opportunity for people to make money on rental income, and also, their values of their properties will be a lot greater down the road when they sell, because now people are buying 2 houses on one lot versus 1 house on one lot. That's it. So I guess it's so bad there that they have to do something, and this is probably the easiest, quickest way for them to do it. And I don't know what else they can do, because they're so far behind.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of. So this law allows New Zealanders to build up to 3 homes per lot. If the original homeowner who's building all these homes, or allowing developers to build homes on their lot, if they sell their house, does the person who buy their house now control the rent for those other homes? I'm guessing that's how it works. Yeah,
I don't have the total details of it, but I would assume if you're going to build a secondary residence on your property, it belongs to the primary resident, that the owner of the property. Like, I don't think, because they're saying you can build up to 3 homes on one property. So So obviously the deed belongs to one person. So when you sell the property, you may have a house, like maybe your house is worth $600,000. It's a bungalow, just like any house in Hamilton or Burlington. But let's use a Hamilton price. Let's say $700,000 for a bungalow. Now you've got a large lot, which in the 50s and 60s, you're building on houses on large lots. You can fit another house on there. So now, is that house going to be worth 1.2, 1.3 million now because you got two houses on there? So you got two residents and you can rent out one and live in the other or have an in-law. It's hard to tell. So, I mean, it's going to be a new thing. I don't know if Canada is going to do this. I don't know if Toronto or anybody's going to do this, but there is such a shortage, and they're going to allow the secondary residents. They're going to allow people to put apartments in their basements because there is a shortage of everything, and that's the only way they can control it. And they have to open it up for everybody. They have to. But I see this. I can see them. It's the only way they can do it to make it through.
Very interesting. Never mind the infrastructure that has to be built in someone's backyard or front yard or whatever this additional house is going. But now you're fighting over the driveway as well. So
I know. You fight enough on the streets here in Hamilton for a parking spot. Can you imagine in your own property? Yeah.
Yeah. When we come back, we're going to chat about apartments at malls. Apparently, the city of Toronto is interested in doing this. We'll get to that when we come back here on the Golfi Real Estate Show, Hamilton Edition on 900 CHML. And one last go-round here on the Golfi Real Estate Show, Hamilton Edition, on 900 CHML. Rick Samprin with Rob Golfi, sales representative with REMAX Escarpment Realty, the Golfi Team. Call Hamilton and Burlington's #1 REMAX team in volume and unit sales, 905-575-7700. Online, the website is robgolfi.com. That's Rob, GOLFI.com. And follow the Golfi Team on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And you can listen to our show online through Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast, Stitcher, and many more. Just search for the Golfi Real Estate Show in your favorite podcast platform and hit the follow button so you never miss an episode. Interesting story out of Toronto where apartments at malls seem to be the next big thing. There are at least 3 major shopping centers in the GTA that are going to be including residences on site in the not too distant future. So picture a mall and now picture a condo on top of that mall or within that mall. What do you think?
I love it. I think it's going to happen. They've designated, I think, 3 malls, like you said. But I think I would prefer that than just a regular one downtown in a downtown core, because you can actually zip down on the elevator and you're in a mall. You can go to get a coffee, dinner, and you don't even have to step outside to get that. I like that, and I think shopping malls, they have no choice. They have to do something because this pandemic gave Amazon and all these online companies more leverage and for people to shop. If you think about it, everybody got conditioned to order stuff online. We all got conditioned. And then we got conditioned not to go to the store to buy anything. So here you go. So these shopping malls are going to be struggling, and they're going to struggle even a lot more. So they're going to need the help to get zoning changes and to add residential condos on top of these malls. I could see it happening at Mapleview Mall in Burlington, Lime Ridge down the road. I could see it happening, and it's going to take a while for them to get the zoning to do it, all that kind of stuff. But it's the only way they're going to survive. In the U.S., they were saying a lot of these malls are struggling because of this pandemic, and a lot of them are going bankrupt. So what do you do with all these properties that are sitting there? They're going to be vacant malls. So they got to do something with it. So maybe putting a high rise there with it, it'll help generate business for the mall, and also it'll keep the mall open and keep things rolling. But we're in a different world now, you know what I mean? So they got to come up with new concepts. I mean, remember everybody shopped downtown years ago, so everybody went downtown. So a lot of the downtown, main streets or whatever in all these cities and towns, they were the hub. That's where everybody went to get their stuff. Then the shopping malls opened up. Well, then everybody went to the shopping malls. Then the downtowns ended up becoming abandoned. Well, then after the shopping malls, we ended up having the big box stores in these big areas. And so now the next step is the online. So things are changing. Like every 20 years, there's a change, and you got to adapt to it if you're a mall owner. But things are changing. Amazon in 20 years from now, they're going to see changes that are going to be happening. Who knows what it's going to be? I can't predict the future, but there is going to be a change of something in 20 years. Right now, Amazon's going to, they're reaping the benefits and the glory of selling online, and everybody got conditioned to order from them. They have everything. But what's going to happen in 20 years, that's going to be the thing that you have to look out for.
The three malls in the GTA that are planning for this: Scarborough Town Center, Yorkdale Shopping Center, and Square One in Mississauga. And I can see a place like Lime Ridge doing it, like Mapleview Mall, as you mentioned. It would bring new meaning to last-minute Christmas shopping. Basically just got to go downstairs to the mall, then up the elevator to your condo, and you're good.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. I mean, hey, I love the idea. I think it's great. I mean, I'm sure they got the parking lots are filled at Christmas time, but I'm sure they'll dig deep and go do some underground parking if they're putting a big high rise there. But definitely, I think it has to happen if these guys are going to survive, because there's a lot of shopping malls across Canada, and they're going to need to do something to survive, because a lot of people are shopping online. They're not going to the malls anymore. So they're definitely going to have to step it up, and the government and the cities are going to have to, pass some zoning changes, and hopefully they do it in time before everybody's bankrupt.
That's a good point, too. We got to run. Rob, great show as always. Thanks for joining us, and thank you for listening to the Golfi Real Estate Show. We are back next Saturday at 9 right here on 900 CHML.